Hello, 7th graders. I'm Mr. Pride,
I'm Mr. Berkman.
and today we're going to talk to you about the scientific method. All right, so you have a sheet in front of you, a homework sheet in front of you, and we'd like you to follow along and fill in the words in the blanks. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Can you do it?
I'm ready.
All right. You can start, Mr. Berkman.
All right, so the first question we have is, what is scientific method? And what it is a process that is used to find answers to the questions that we happen to find in life.
Good. Is there only one scientific method? No, there's several versions of the scientific method. Some versions have more steps, while others may have only a few. However, they all begin with the identification of a problem or question to be answered based on observations of the world around us and provide an organized method for conducting and analyzing an experiment.
Very interesting, Mr. Pride.
Just write the red words.
What is a hypothesis? Now, hopefully you've talked about this in 6th grade before, but it's an educated guess based on observations and your knowledge of the topic.
And it might help you at this point to make a little note that says that it's written as an if-then statement, and that'll help you on future assignments. So what is the data? That's the information. It comes in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's just pictures, sometimes it's numbers, but that is the information that is gathered during an experiment.
Good. So the next thing we're going to talk about is actually how to do an entire experiment, and what we call that is scientific method. There's several steps to scientific method, all right? So first of all, here's just a brief overview of what we're going to do. We're going to find a problem, create a hypothesis using what kind of statement?
An if-then statement.
Very good, Mr. Pride. We're going to make the actual experiment and carry out that experiment, find our data, and then tell our results to the rest of the scientific community.
Good. That all makes sense. Good job.
Thank you.
So the first step is to identify the problem. So what do you want to know or explain? You got to use observations that you've made to write a question that addresses the problem or topic that you want to investigate. And we'll talk more about what that looks like later.
The second bubble on your worksheet should be form a hypothesis. And this is what we talked about earlier. You're going to take that problem and you're going to create a question in an if-then format. And it's more of a prediction than it is a question. Right, Mr. Pride?
That's correct. Then, once you've made that educated guess, you're going to create an experiment. And the experiment will tell how you will test your hypothesis. You need to develop a procedure for a reliable experiment that addresses safety rules. Or also.
All right, next you got to carry out that experiment, okay? So you're going to take your procedure, follow all the steps, and actually get the experiment done. And then from here, you will find your data.
All right, this where it gets a little crazy, so keep up. So you're going to analyze the data. Is it reliable? Does your data and observations from the experiment support your hypothesis?
Is your data inaccurate or is the experiment flawed? This can happen in a lot of different ways. Maybe the weather wasn't cooperating, or maybe there was some human error. Mr. Pride does that a lot.
Nice. Well, let's go back. If your data was accurate, or it was inaccurate, or the experiment was flawed, then you need to rewrite your procedure to address the flaws in the original experiment. This is the part that 7th graders hate.
If there is no problems, then you can go ahead and move to the final step, which is communicate the results. So you want to write a conclusion, summarize what you did, and tell people the important findings that you have.
All right. That was a brief overview of the scientific method. In future installments of Mr. Berkman and Mr. Pride's newscast, look for what variables are, manipulated and dependent variables. Thank you very much.
Thank you.